What are some common historical misconceptions? Laura Vogel. One historical figure who has been repeatedly and unjustly ripped to shreds over the years is Tsaritsa Alexandra Feodorovna, wife of Tsar Nicholas II of Russia. The common myth paints her as cold, awkward, absent, manipulative, unfaithful, and controlling among countless other things. People say she was rude and heartless, that she ruled her children with an iron fist, that she slept with Rasputin and convinced Nicholas to follow his advice and ultimately caused the fall of Imperial Russia. All of that is absolute rubbish, and despite all of the evidence against it, people still try to make her out to be this horrendous villain. Before I did my research, I tried to do exactly that. But I'm here now to make sure that this poor woman is not remembered for the rest of time as the reason her family was murdered. She was born Princess Alex of Hesse in 1872 and had a childhood overshadowed by death and tragedy. First, her brother Friedrich died of a hemophilic attack after falling through a window. Second, she lost her youngest sister Marie, to whom she was very close, to diphtheria in 1878 after becoming seriously ill herself. Not too long after that, her mother Princess Alice, a daughter of Queen Victoria, succumbed to the disease as well. As if that wasn't enough, nearly everything belonging to the family had to be burned so as to prevent the disease from spreading. After that, she spent a lot of time with her grandmother in England and quickly became the favorite grandchild. Alex received and rejected a proposal in 1890 from Prince Albert Victor, the then heir to the British throne. Victoria was not happy as she had been essentially grooming Alex to be Queen of England, but ultimately gave in to her granddaughter's wishes. She had, by that point, fallen in love with Tsarevich Nicholas of Russia. Nicholas' parents hated the match, but Nicholas refused to relent. However, in 1894 Alexander III's health began to fail and he decided to allow it for fear that his son would be unmarried and childless when he ascended the throne. The couple met again in April of 1894 for Alex's brother Ernst's wedding, and on the day after his arrival, he proposed. Alex rejected him on religious grounds. She was Lutheran and would have to convert to Orthodoxy to marry him, and was quite upset that her devotion to God would be what stood between her and happiness. Nicholas wasn't going to give up that easily. He'd brought along his uncle Sergei, who happened to be married to Alex's sister Elizabeth, as well as an Orthodox priest, in the hopes that they would be able to convince her of the religious benefits of converting. Whatever they said to her worked, and after shenanigans of drastically varying gravity, they were married in November of 1894. The couple had 5 children. Alexandra was not welcomed in Russia. Her predecessor Maria was exactly what a Tsaritsa should be: outgoing, cheerful, modern, and so forth. She found it very difficult to measure up to her mother-in-law, and society was not kind to her. She hated parties, they gave her migraines, and she was very shy, which a lot of people took as her being aloof or haughty. She had simple tastes and ordered a lot of furniture from English middle-class magazines, which did not go down well. Some said she spoke French with a bad accent and her Russian wasn't much better. As well as the migraines, she suffered from what was probably sciatica as well as general pain all over her body. As a result, she spent a lot of time on her daybeds or being wheeled around by Nicholas or her children. She wasn't trying to be cruel or a burden, but the human body is not built for 6, if you include the phantom/ectopic one, pregnancies in quick succession, not to mention all the issues she had before that. The only thing that seemed to help her hemophiliac son was the holy man Rasputin, and as she was obviously devoted to both her son and Christianity, she was incredibly grateful to him. But she didn't sleep with him, nor did any of her daughters. These ludicrous claims were made up by the Bolsheviks in the run-up to the revolution as a way to weaken Alexandra's grip on the capital while her husband was away at the front. Yes, she had some power during the war, but not nearly enough to substantially change Nicholas' opinion on anything, and she certainly didn't take suggestions from Rasputin on matters of state. In my opinion, the worst claims that have been made against her are about her as a mother. For a very long time, people believed that she kept her children isolated from the world for fear that they would leave her and that they had no friends outside of one another. All of this and more has been disproven by the wonderful translations of their diaries done by Helena Tsar. The girls had very busy social lives and plenty of friends, although it's true they were much closer to each other than anyone else. The older girls particularly went to balls and the theater quite regularly, and they all went to parties at their Aunt Olga's nearly every week. People blamed Alexandra for things that were entirely out of her control, or just spouted blatant lies about her if they couldn't find anything else. I hope I've at least sparked your interest in Alexandra and that you'll ignore all of this made-up stuff because, if nothing else, it's unfair, and I'm sure that none of us would want to be remembered for terrible things we didn't do. 113.9K views. View 2,154 upvotes.